Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we are decoding the May 2026 York Region real estate market. And look, if you've been reading the headlines lately, you've probably seen some incredibly mixed signals, right? Like one day the market is absolutely surging, and then literally the next day it's supposedly cooling off. It's confusing. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or honestly just trying to figure out what your own home is worth right now. But don't worry, that is exactly what we're going to clear up today. We're going to dive into the hard data from April and May of 2026 for York Region and really unpack what's actually happening beneath the surface.
Okay, let's dive into this. 19%. I mean, wow, that is a massive number. Just to put that into perspective, York Region actually went from 994 home sales in April up to 1,183 sales in May. So we're talking about a 19% jump in buyer activity in literally just a single month. Now, if you just look at that number all by itself, it really sounds like a buying frenzy is starting all over again, doesn't it? Which, naturally leads us to the big question. Is the York Region market officially hot again? Is this surface-level hot market headline the actual truth? Or is it just, well, real estate clickbait? The short answer? No way. It's really not that simple. May didn't just show a generic hot market or a slow market. It actually showed us something way more nuanced and, frankly, a lot more useful if you're actually trying to navigate it. We basically can't just take that 19% jump at face value without looking at the supply side of the whole equation. So here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll look at the May market shift. Second, we're unpacking the price paradox. Third, local trends and property types. And finally, number 4, winning buyer and seller strategies. All right, moving right into section 1, the May market shift. This is where the real story starts to take shape. We've got those 1,183 sales, which absolutely proves that buyer activity improved by 19%. Buyers were definitely out there pulling the trigger and making decisions. But check out the active listings. We had 5,252 homes sitting on the market in May. So in plain English, yes, more buyers were active, for sure. But there was still so much supply out there that buyers held some pretty serious negotiating power. They really didn't have to rush. They actually had the inventory to sit back and compare homes carefully.
And this brilliantly illustrates our second section, unpacking the price paradox. Okay, so here is the ultimate aha moment of all this May data. The average price for May came in at just over $1.17 million. Now, that is up 4.1% from April. So, prices are up, right? Well, hold on a second. Look at the HPI benchmark price. That sits at $1.10 million, which is actually down 9.45% compared to this time last year. You kind of have to scratch your head and ask, how on earth can the average price go up month over month while the benchmark price is down nearly 10% year over year? So what exactly is this price paradox? Well, it's a situation where average prices can actually move higher simply because of the mix of the specific homes being sold. Think of it like this. If a bunch of really high-end luxury homes or massive detached houses happen to sell in a given month, that mathematical average is just going to get pulled artificially higher. But the HPI benchmark, which is what we use to measure the true baseline market value of a typical home, tells us that compared to last year, sellers are still operating in a super price-sensitive environment. So a higher average price in May absolutely doesn't erase the fact that buyers out there are still extremely focused on value. Let's see how this all builds into Section 3, local trends and property types. York Region isn't just one giant uniform market. It's really a collection of highly distinct, unique neighborhoods. Take Newmarket, for example. Sales there completely surged by 22.4%. And Richmond Hill and Aurora, they also saw some very strong double-digit growth in sales activity. But then look at East Gwillimbury. They actually saw a sudden pullback, with sales completely dropping off by 27.3% from April to May. Honestly, this just proves that you absolutely cannot take a broad regional headline and just automatically apply it to your specific neighborhood. Local context is literally everything. And it's not just geography that shakes things up, it's also the property type. When we look at the sales price to list price percentage across the board, townhouses are actually out there selling over asking on average, hitting about 101%. Those well-positioned attached and row homes, they are attracting some really strong offers right now. Meanwhile, detached homes are sitting at around 98%, which shows us that negotiations are active but fairly balanced. And condo apartments, they're hovering at 97%, with over 1,100 active listings flooding the region. So condo buyers are understandably remaining highly selective with all those options out there. Let's just take a quick mental breather here and absorb this quote from the source report by Jonathan Colford. Buyers are returning, but they are not buying blindly. I mean, that perfectly hits the nail on the head for the entire May market. The confidence is definitely back,
And hey, activity is up 19%. But because of those 5,000 plus active listings we talked about, buyers are actually doing their homework. They're out there comparing, they're calculating, and they are absolutely negotiating.
All of which brings us to our fourth and, frankly, most actionable section, winning buyer and seller strategies.
So if you're a prospective buyer right now, here is exactly how you use this data to your advantage. First up, move quickly on quality. Please don't assume the market is just sitting totally still. Well-priced homes in strong locations are moving fast, especially townhomes like we just saw. Second, use that elevated inventory to your advantage. With over 5,000 active listings out there, you have the breathing room to compare condition, layout, and lot size rather than just reacting emotionally out of FOMO. And finally, match your offer strategy to the exact property type. How you negotiate for a hot townhouse should look very, very different than how you approach a condo apartment right now.
Now, flip the script. If you're a seller, you've got to be incredibly strategic. First off, please don't overread that single average price metric. Just because the broad regional average went up a bit, it doesn't automatically mean your specific home's value has recovered to those past peak levels. Second, your launch has to be flawless. A stronger May doesn't mean you get a free pass to skip professional photography, staging, or realistic pricing. And honestly, most importantly, remember who you are actually competing with. You aren't just competing with that one house that sold down the street last month. You are competing head-to-head with the dozen other active listings a buyer is out there touring this exact weekend.
Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground today. Everything from a massive 19% surge in sales to that tricky paradox of average versus benchmark prices. But if you take nothing else away, remember this: real estate is hyper-local. Like we saw, a townhouse in Newmarket might as well be in a completely different universe than a luxury estate in King. So I'm going to leave you with this thought to mull over. Next time you see one of those big top-line headlines, look a little deeper. What do these numbers actually mean for your specific neighborhood?